Welcome. Uh, I um, I have started putting together what I want to try out on you. I'm laying out a whole format for us exploring in the morning because it seems to me now that we're getting more back into, well, I'm not back. We're getting more into the rhythms of how life is now. And during the pandemic, it seems so important to me that we have the nourishment of attention and connection to really kind of sustain us, in all of the chaos. And lo and behold, the chaos has not seemed to calm down at all. And so I wanted to bring more resources and how the resources come together. And so I want to try out something with you today and see how it lands with you. So I want to start with a wonderful quote. I was looking through, I love to collect quotes. I don't know if, I see something, I go, oh, that is just the best way that's ever been said. And so when I find them, I love to share. You may have noticed that if I like something, I like to share it with everybody. So this is by Iris Murdoch, the author Iris Murdoch. I use the word attention to express the idea of a just and loving gaze directed upon individual reality. I want to say that one again. That's kind of loaded. Yeah. I use the word attention to express the idea of a just and loving gaze directed upon individual reality. I believe this to be the characteristic and proper mark of the active moral agent. Yeah, that's a big wow, isn't it? How our attention is directly connected to, I love these poles of just and loving and gazing upon individual reality. And my sense is that as we're bringing together, it's like integrity and presence, that it creates what I sometimes call a tuning fork of here I can come back to this. This will orient me. I can find myself. I can presence myself and be here with what is going on. And so it's what I used to call love with a spine. So I used to be really, really loving and give out all this attention, but it was a little bit mushy in that, having my own needs met, requesting, making requests, that sort of got left out. And so I want to invite you to let yourself, I also love the word gaze. So a just and loving gaze. So let yourself, I know I have a passion for justice. So my two highest values are justice and beauty. And I often combine those because, and there was someone, I think it was Buckminster Fuller, who said he didn't really think about beauty, but if he came to a solution and it wasn't beautiful, he knew it wasn't right. So I think that beauty also lets us create wholeness through our attention, and wholeness, that sense of I can be, I can be here, I can be here as I am, and I can respond to reality. I'd love to have you just play with letting your attention go out and playing with what's a just and loving gaze. Just letting yourself play with that and see what you come up with. And when you gaze out, what do you notice when you gaze out around you with a just and loving gaze? So I'm noticing the balance of both lots of foliage and open space. So I have a sense that when I'm looking out, I can include more of opposites. I can include more. So I just want to invite you. And then when you let your attention, we almost always think of our attention going out. And so if you let your attention come in, can you look at, experience yourself with a just and loving gaze? So gazing at yourself, we often go too much on the, justice, as if we're, judging ourselves. We take justice into that realm. And then loving is like we let ourselves get away with stuff. So what would be a just and loving gaze inside you, and just noticing where your attention goes into you and then out. And as you're refreshing your loop of awareness, what I find is that the what was coming to me was a kind of a hug, a virtual hug that comes with just justice on one side and loving on the other, and just says, I got you. I gotcha. And I would love us to give that to ourselves, because often we give ourselves conditional love, like when you've done this, or when you've lost the weight, or when you've finished that thing that you started 2 years ago, or, whenever it is, then I'll give you some loving. And I would like your body to kind of speak up. Here's what I'd like. Pay attention to me. And I'd like you to let yourself give it that. I see you. This is how it is. And I love you the way you are. And I find that in that kind of a gaze, that people can find their next most evolutionary choice. And I love it that some of you are letting your body just go ahead and hug you. And how can, when you gaze out, and even if it's something that you can't see, but it's something that you're thinking of, like something that you worry about, one of the different areas of conflict that's going on in the world, or something going on in your family, or some, like you to let yourself give a virtual hug to something out there that you've been trying to make different. And then you can give a virtual or a real hug to you. And when you come back, I love the way Brian was hugging his face. I'd want to try that on too. Though it's like, we hardly ever do that. I was just thinking, oh, that just feels really wonderful. Like, hmm, I feel my whole, we carry so much tension in our face. I could just feel my whole jaw relax. Even for me, it's the beginning of the day. We can always register tension in our faces. So what I'm also thinking of is that our love scoops can be including. So justice for me has to do with equality. It has to do with seeing other people as equal. It has to do with appreciating myself and seeing myself as worthy. So I'd love for you to include, so you can do a love scoop that is justice and love. So we can just play with that, and just to kind of remind you that you can have that openness and inclusion, and you can make requests and say, no, I don't want to do that. And both of those can come together. And so today's card. Oh, and so part of the progress here, for those of you who haven't been here for a while, or if you're new, I want to combine Love Scoops and Loop of Awareness with a card from the Integrity deck, and with Presence Connect Play. So we get just this sort of cornucopia of things to play with for the week, but they all really relate to our being able to create love in action, and not just have to go to another place to have love in action. So first, just let yourself give your loving and just gaze to this card, and then give your loving and just gaze to anything inside you that is responding to what you're seeing, what you're noticing. And then let yourself come back and look at it again, and then come back inside. This one, I every time I look at these cards, I see something more. And I'm appreciating Kirsten, who the artist who helped co-create this with me, for bringing in all of these different elements of loving ourselves and of living in integrity. So as you're looking at this, let me just read this to you and let yourself breathe it in. I express my feelings in ways that are congruent with my inner experience. I'll read that once more. I express my feelings in ways that are congruent with my inner experience. And then I'll read the question. I want you to notice if you're receiving the question a little bit differently than you do the statement. So the question is, how do I let my emotions and inner experience be noticeable to others? Whoa, that's a whole other aspect. How do I let my emotions and inner experience be noticeable to others? So letting yourself do your loop of awareness with the card. So you're looking at the card and then you're noticing, giving your attention to what arises, what wakes up, what wants your attention in you, and back and forth a couple of times. And then I'd like you to go ahead and we can come back to the big group because I want to just talk about this one for a moment. The expressing, if you look at dramas, like if you, you know, like social dramas, or if you notice a drama on television, there is almost always an element of somebody is having a feeling and they do not express it. They either withhold it or they try and override it or they make it the other person's problem. Or someone will say, you know, the classic is, you know, how are you? I'm fine. And you're not fine. And the other person knows you're not fine, but you're not willing to do two things. One, let your emotions be here in the space. So, and I find that that move is the most healing move in any kind of close relationship, because the other person or persons, their bodies know and their brains know that there's something going on, but your mouth is not matching what's going on inside you. And that's why sometimes I will use, I'll invite people to make sound or to bodify because they haven't yet found the words to describe the feeling that's going on. But we give people so little practice in that. And also, there's a value and has been for you know, well over 50 years of, you know, particularly for men, you know, which is suck it up and, you know, strong and silent and, you know, powerful and you don't have feelings. And in the corporate world for a very long time, it's, you know, leave your feelings at the door. And so we've really handicapped ourselves because feelings are, you know, are the richness of our, the nuances of our communication. And I also find that if I do what we call matching, if I'm able to express, even if you know, it's not a completely articulate and logical sentence, it may be like, oh, but that matches that, then there's something that opens up, that wakes up, there's an alignment and a flow of energy that allows me to get unstuck, to find out what's really going on. And the other part, the question of how do I let my emotions and inner experience be noticeable to others? You know, that whole, I think of it when I watch English dramas, there'll always be someone that says, are you all right? And the person says, I'm fine, I'm fine. Yeah, you know, but they can say, I'm fine. You know, you could practice that. There are about 25 different ways to say, I'm fine, that really communicate that you're not fine. You know, I'm not fine, and you should know already why I'm not fine. But that interaction of you've got to guess, and I'm not going to tell you, and I'm just going to handle it myself. You know, all the martyr stuff and the persona stuff that we add to feelings, where if someone just simply, like, you know, I just felt scared, or you know, I was feeling jealous, or you know, the when they actually communicate the thing, then the openness, the support, the connection is just amplified in a way that I think makes the fear about expressing worthwhile. And I would love for you to take the courage, and don't have to do this with everybody, but I'd love for you to have 1 to 3 people in your life that you can practice with, that you can practice sharing, like, this morning, or I just got off the phone with my mother and so, because, matching words often, condense what we're, it's like the toothpaste. We put the toothpaste back in the tube with words often. And so the first part of expressing, we judge ourselves if we're not eloquent, but the real power is in matching. And so I invite you to let that be a focus, because boy, does it have a payoff. That when I express, I get warmer. I mean, there's some really practical things I know as I get warmer. I have more creative thoughts. I can think of, like something that I forgot last week will come into my mind. So it brings me back into integrity. It brings me back into wholeness rather than having that big rattle on the inside. So that's the card I wanted to share with you today, which is from the emotional literacy part. And then I would love to share with you the presence, connect, play. And I have 3 really good ones that I want to share with you. So I want to have us do them, and then I want to talk about them a little bit. So for presence, I'd like you to let yourself take 3 easy, relaxed, connected breaths. So even just wherever you are, so sometimes we feel like, oh, I have to change my posture and I have to. So just right where you are, take 3 easy, connected breaths. And I like to connect the in breath to the out breath, because that's the place where we usually hold in fear, which is so if you breathe in and then just roll right on over into the out breath. And then you do that 3 times, and then change your physical position in some way. So the sequence, and there's research behind this, which I'll tell you about in a moment, but the sequence of taking those 3 relaxed breaths and then changing your physical position. So imagine adding this to when you're working on something at your computer, when you're in a meeting, adding in, like whenever you're feeling like your presence has drifted, to take your 3 connected breaths and simply change your physical position. Now, it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like you don't have to, you do calisthenics, in the middle of the meeting, but simply changing. I find also if I change where and how I'm sitting, that's one move that makes a big difference in my aliveness. So that's presence. And connect is inviting you to experience yourself and others as works of art. And in our couples courses in relationship work, we've often noticed that people treat their partners as their own personal improvement project. Like he's a little bit rough, but with my work, we can smooth out the edges, or like if you would just then so we look at our partners and we feel entitled also to and with our close friends to go, I've noticed something that if you would just change that, I think you'd be a much better person. And our friends are supposed to receive that. But imagine experiencing yourself and others as a unique work of art. So just go ahead and imagine this with somebody that you've had difficulty with. Someone with whom you have, or you keep, sort of bumping, and you have opposites. So I'd like you to picture them, and I'd like you to imagine them as a unique work of art. And I also experience us as evolving works of art. And so my job is to appreciate. And that means not to go, oh, woo woo, oh, that's so good, but to give my sensitive awareness to how this unique work of art is showing up today. And I find that when I do that, that it releases other people from the push pull of somebody's right and somebody's wrong, I have to be in charge, or you're going to be in charge or in control. That we're each basically here evolving, while we're on the planet, and that my job is to go, oh, yes, here you are, and this is what is evolving. And there are works of art that I find very peculiar, like some of the Rothkos. I look at this big, blank of black, and I go, oh, okay, like a whole wall of black, and go, okay. Or someone will have made an installation where they're eating the same ice cream cone over and over again on a television. I go, okay, but there are works of art, means that we're always evolving and being created and recreating ourselves. So you may not like the art, but you can appreciate it. So, and that's the start of more connection. And then let me just take some water here. And then play. we need access to both strong and light. And so I would love for you to let yourself do a love scoop that's a very light love scoop, where you're kind of withholding your energy. You're as if you were you're touching somebody that's in the middle of feeling, and you want to give them their attention, but you don't want to disturb them. So let yourself do a love scoop that has a very light touch. And just notice what it's like to give yourself that kind of attention, that light. Oh, yes, I know that was a tricky one for you. And here's here's that attention to give you that kind of support that we can give to ourselves, we can give to others. And then what I was missing for a long time was the other part, which is strong. So I'd like you to imagine that someone you've just pulled you've pulled somebody out of the path of a teenager on an electric bike. So you've just pulled them out, and notice how you organize yourself to move in what we would call a strong way. Yeah. And then just notice that quality, and imagine if you were able to make requests with both I'd love for you to speak to your brother with the same kind of tone that I'm using with you. Or nope, we're not going to do that. Nope, that's not working. So you can use it in your voice, you can use it in your being, and with yourself. Like, I need to gather my strength in order to go into this meeting. And you can do that and support yourself. And then often you'll want to make a light, you don't want to knock other people over with your opinion. So you might want to give it a light touch. And learning how to move between light and strong is just really, really amazing, because weight, the way we experience our weight, has to do with the amount of impact that we have in the world. So I really, really love that one. And I wanted to say just a word too about our 3 breaths and change your physical position. That one comes from research. I think it was out of the University of Minnesota years ago, where they were doing how stress relief. And they had groups doing meditation, I think, and doing stretching. And there was a group that they had, there was a control group that they had doing this breathing 3 breaths and changing your physical position. And what they found was that doing that was as effective as medication for relieving stress. And so that one is really, really powerful if you play with it and let yourself incorporate it. And you'll forget, and that's you can come back to the recording. You can refresh yourself so that you're learning how to incorporate. All of these are intended to give you more of a sense of your own wholeness, how to retrieve your wholeness when you feel like you've lost it, and how to be with others in a way that bridges differences and allows us to co-create together. So that's our session for today. And you can let us know how you liked it. And also want to have you invite other folks, especially someone who maybe not doesn't know about our work. This is a great way to, I think, bring people into the community and people that you would like to get closer to. And so you're welcome to stay and converse with each other. And I'm going to go off and get myself some breakfast. So until next time, thanks so much for being here. Bye now.